Hey everybody, it's the old biker chess dude at you one more time. We're up for episode number 3. Holy Christmas! I can't believe it. We've been gone a little bit, but we're back and in style. Hey, I got a great show for you today in which we're going to talk to another person that I want you to be familiar and introduced to. This guy I've worked with a little bit. He's a cool dude. He's got a great philosophy about chess and how you get to learn and things like that. And I think that you will want to investigate a little bit more. So we'll get to that in just a second. But hey, welcome. Hey, studio audience. Let's have a big hand for everybody around here. Thank you so much. We're still having some fun over at the High Point Church in Romeoville, right off of Wyndham Parkway. You're going to love it. Come on down. We have some very some cool people that are coming down there. I'd like well, if you've been paying attention at all in the chess world, you know that the big guns are playing up there. So Carlsen was, if you had not been keeping track of it, was beaten by Wesley So. Holy Christmas, this is unbelievable. Yeah, it's hard to see a guy like Carlsen coming in second place. Usually the guy's just like a tornado, just rips right through everything. But hey, Wesley So, outstanding, good man. Meanwhile, I really want to get into this interview. The guy that we're going to be seeing has a website, which is called chessopenings.com. And it looks like this. A site where he explains the ideas behind chess openings. If you haven't been there, I recommend you to go take a look at it. Not so much in a lot of tactics and stuff, but it gives you that opportunity to say, I'm playing this opening, and after move 3, I'm not sure what I'm doing here. What is it? Just, why are you moving the piece? I don't know, because that's what you're supposed to do. No, he gives you the ideas behind it, and I think you're going to really like it. Now, he opened as he put the thing together as Derek Kelly, since he's changed his name to Krishna Prem. And either way, I think you're going to really enjoy this. So, if you will, without any further ado, let's get into the interview. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have a very special guest for you today at the old biker chess dude and the chess coffee and conversations. A man who has proven himself to be a step above most other people when it comes to chess. And I want you to get to know this man too. So here he is today. Everybody say hello to the one and only Derek Kelly. How you doing, sir?
Known as Krishna Prem, right? I feel like they have to keep saying that. It's very important. So,
okay.
Yes, I'm formally known as Derek Kelly.
Okay.
But I go by Krishna Prem now because I took a sannyasin. Yes, a sannyasin vow in October 2017.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Okay. Krishna Prem. Well, as always, it's good to have you here and joining us out there for on Chess Coffees and Conversation. Now,
yes,
as I do my little podcast out here, I'd like to just have the, well, first off, studio audience, let's give a big hand. Yep, definitely. And, and what I wanted to do is just for people to get to know you a little bit like I do a little bit, and just ask you some basic questions, and you can plug whatever you like, because that's what we're here for.
do it.
All right. Okay. So can you tell me, sir, how did you get into chess?
So, basically, since I was a young child, I enjoyed games, board games, things like that, especially at my grandparents' house. I don't have any siblings, so my cousins became my kind of surrogate siblings when I would be at my grandmother's house. And so One of my cousins, his name is Josh. Well, we played lots of different games. Let's just leave it at that. Sometimes it was with different cousins, but we could play card games. We could play all kinds of different things. And I started learning that if I read books on whatever games we were playing, I could get some advantage and improve and then beat people at them. So I did this with Monopoly. I remember that for a long time I was studying some Monopoly books, and there really is strategy to Monopoly because of the way that the dice roll. Yeah, I know. It's kind of interesting because it seems like it's more or less a random game, or maybe there's a little bit of strategy, but it turns out there's like probability charts and things like that because of the way the dice, I think, if you roll 2 dice, I think it's a 7 that is the most common outcome of rolling 2 dice. And then there are different cards that land you on different spaces. So basically there's probabilities which affect how much those properties are really worth, even though they're worth one thing. I know this is like a big sidetrack from chess, but basically I learned that I could study the Monopoly, but one day I went to study chess and I found at Barnes & Noble at the time that there was like tons and tons of bookcase stacks, right, with books on chess. And I used to play with my cousin. So I realized, wow, I've got a treasure trove of information, and started collecting books, and eventually had up to almost like 300, 400 books on chess, and that was the beginning of my competitive chess streak.
Well, that's amazing. I didn't know anything about the Monopoly side of it, but yeah, I can see with as a collector of chess books, and I have some in my collection, and I think, like me and a few other people, we just collect the books, we read a few pages, and then we kind of put it on the shelf and we never look at it again. And we're hoping through osmosis, the information from the chess books
by looking at it on the screen.
Yeah. And you go there and says, well, if our rating was as good as we're by the books we had stacked on the shelf somewhere, we'd all be grandmasters by now. But
that's right.
That's right.
Or the database.
Yeah.
If we could just absorb the database.
But so that's great. How many? Speaking of that, do you have a lot of chess books in your own personal collection?
No. So somewhere, I want to say 2013 or 2014, I moved out of a place that I was living, and I donated almost all of my chess books to the Seattle Chess Club. They actually gave me $500, but I don't even want to estimate how many those books were worth, because most chess books run at about $20 to $25, right? So that would have covered, let's say they were worth 22, so you got to do a little bit of math there, but let's just say that covered maybe 20 out of 500 of the book, or 200 of the book, right? But I just wanted to get rid of them because I really have felt for a long time that having the engines and the databases like ChessBase and Houdini, and I like Fritz, I like Junior, I like Stockfish. So between databases and engines, I don't feel that most books actually, maybe they're good books, but if I'm willing to work with the information available myself, I feel like I reach sturdier, more well understood conclusions if I work with the material on my own without any intervention of the author, rather than having an author who's going to start pruning certain information out, leaving little notes here and there, and white has a slight advantage. And I might not understand why white has a slight advantage in that position. So I might need to continue going into the tree, going into the engine. So I found that it was a more organic understanding that I developed when I wasn't working with books, when I was just working with engines and databases.
Wow, you see that, chess players out there? Chess engines, that's the key. And then some
chess engines and databases and a lot of free time on your hands.
Well, yeah, which ain't very free if you're going to be using it to study, but that's another story. Oh man. Okay, so very good. I gave us a little insight on your studying style with the databases and stuff, and how you like to work on your own. Very good. So tell me, let's see, you gained master title, right?
Yes, I did.
And let's see, and when did you get that master title?
I believe I was 23 years old, so that would have been 11 years ago now. So let's see, what year would that be? That would be 2010. That sounds about right.
Yeah, well, look at it. I've been going at it for this time, and I'm lucky to get a title like head.
Well, you've been doing fantastic. So everybody knows, because you've only said that you know me, but you're one of my students.
Yes.
You've been taking lessons with me for over a year, and you've made few hundred rating points. Well, you haven't. You're not usually playing rated games, right?
That's true. Well, especially now, the COVID thing is getting on there.
Yeah, right.
But as I as we've been going over it a bit, as we discuss our games and stuff, I hope by the time that the place opens up, because I don't like doing it online when it comes to rated games. I like the face-to-face board thing that we do.
Yes.
And
You're doing fantastic. I didn't even realize, like, you told me you want to do this interview. You actually do have a crew right now helping you produce this, right?
Yeah.
You're such a mover and a shaker.
Yeah.
I see this about you, Eric, all the time. You're starting different clubs and going out and playing, and you've got also a full-time job. You're always an inspiration for me because, it's like, what am I doing when I find myself getting a little lethargic or something like that? I noticed that you're doing so much out there, and it's really encouraging and inspiring.
Well, that's that old biker dude stuff to come out there. You keep
Amazing.
moving, otherwise they're gonna put you in a hole in the ground, But
Yeah.
thank you so much for the compliment. That was very nice of you.
Sure. But there was something we were talking about, because you said, we were talking about when did I become a master, right? So, I mean, I became a master. And no, I don't feel like that's inaccessible to anybody. That's kind of my point. So it was partially just to say this is so cool. I had a moment of getting excited there.
Yeah.
But I feel basically, first of all, I do feel, I'm not kidding you. I feel like you could make master if you worked at it for a few more years and got to the right tournaments and continued the process. That was one thing. And then that's how I feel for everyone. That was Anders Ericsson research. So I studied psychology in school. There's research out there which says there's really no such thing as talent, that everything that people accomplish in any field is basically due to what he called deliberate practice, which has to do with having feedback and stretching your comfort zone in whatever field you're doing. So I also work on music. I have to recall this many, many times because there's lots of superstitions out there. And one of my favorite things about chess is how it breaks down superstitions, not only just about how to practice and how to get good at something, but also in terms of when you're playing, right? You also understand that if you start getting involved in thought processes that leave out important details, there needs to be more like a surgical precision about your thinking processes. So it's really great for honing that. And it adds a dimension to my life that is very different from the other fields of my life, like meditation.
Well, I'm telling you, you are the Renaissance man, that's for sure. And I tell you, one of the things that brought my attention to you at the one point was when I was, again, trying to, come back into chess after so many years being out of it, and I looked into YouTube for some videos, because I'm not much for reading books, but I do like to watch, and I learned better. I'm a more visual, audio kind of guy when it comes to learning.
Right.
I came across your website or your video thing, the chessopenings.com. And the thing that I loved about it is that sometimes instead of just being a video where they show you this the moves and thank you very much for watching, that kind of thing, you went into a part of it that the old biker chess do really enjoyed a bit. You found that opening and you explained the ideas behind it for both sides. And that is something that I personally wanted to know, because if you get lost in your calculations in your game, you start going out there, once you get out of the book and you're like standing there, well, I don't know what I'm doing now, But if you have an understanding of what the idea behind something is, maybe that will help you find a path to take while you're trying to play your game. And you're the only guy I know that does that. And that's what kind of drew me to you in the first place. Can you tell me a little bit about how you came up with the chess openings on YouTube and how that has helped you in your chess teaching there a bit?
So what I'm fond of telling people in the apps that we created in the videos is that basically there was a point where I was like a teenager, and one of the major advices is not to study the openings, right? It's like study tactics, study everything else. Don't learn rote openings, don't do it. But I found that that's what I wanted to do, and I found that it wasn't as difficult as people were making it sound. People kept saying, oh, all the youngsters, they've got 8 hours a day. I mean, there's all kinds of mythology, at least in Seattle where I live. And I lived in Tacoma at the time, so my players were in Tacoma. But I kept hearing all this mythology about these great players that know all this theory, and if you play them, you're just going to get killed if you try to go into main lines. And so I studied main lines and found that it was never true. And that's still true today. Even as a master, I find that even other masters don't know it. I've done statistics. By move 8, most of the players are out of book, even at the master level. So there's this theory that masters are all booked up to move 23, and you got to find some sideline or find some deviation early on in order to get them out of book. And it's just statistically not true, and it's definitely not true in my own experience. So it's actually a great place to overcome opponents, to start getting an edge early on, is to study the openings. And I also found, as we were talking about with the books before, I would buy books on pawn structure chess, or whatever, books on pawn structure, books on middle game positions, and I found that those books weren't satisfying me at all in terms of learning anything, because just something about that approach wasn't working. If I'm studying, for example, a book on isolated queen's pawn positions, what I found is, well, each isolated queen's pawn position is different. There's isolated queen's pawn positions that come out of the tirage. There's the French tirage. Then there's the queen's gambit declined tirage. Then there's all kinds of different openings that lead to isolated queen's pawns. But what matters is the actual particular position, and usually which opening it came out of. So why not just study the opening, right? Why not study each individual position from start to finish, rather than try to group them together by theme? Kingside attacking positions. Well, again, there are kingside attacking positions in the King's Indian Smamish, and there's kingside attacking positions in the Dragon, and there's kingside attacking positions in the Najdorf. Why not study the Najdorf, the Dragon, and the Smamish rather than kingside attacking positions? That's going to maybe sound really technical to some people, but some people will understand what I'm saying there, that I didn't see the reason to do this grouping process. So I ultimately felt that studying openings was the best way to study the middle game, because you're getting to know concrete opening positions which have been analyzed out into the middle game, and so you do that instead of trying to take shortcuts.
Well, I'll tell you, when I first started looking at it, because when I got to when you did the a video on the Brunfeld, or you did one on the Roy Lopez, or the Catalan, or whatever it is, and you'd see the opening, you can learn the moves, but it says, I have no idea what the guy who made this, what was the general theme of this particular thing. You needed to know what the plan of the idea behind the opening was, and it will work a little bit better for you. Because if you're just pushing pieces, well, then what's the difference between that opening and any other opening if you're just pushing pieces?
Right.
Soon you get lost just as quickly. But your aspect of going into the ideas and who has an advantage and what they're trying to play for, that I found very interesting. It was something that, like I said, unique among, and that's different when you got something unique along the internet, is when you got that kind of thing. So the old biker chess dude loved that kind of thing. He likes to know where he's going, even though a biker, likes to usually just follow a road. But I'd still like to know where the hell I'm going anyway.
Yeah. Very good.
So,
very good.
Now tell me, now that you, how many students do you have? Do you have
probably like 14 or 15, because I count the few schools which I have as being students.
You do school stuff too.
Yeah,
huh?
But whoever's watching this, I'm definitely looking for more, for potentially much more. One of my really good friends has like 25. I've got bills to pay. I've got an apartment to pay rent on. I've got a credit card that needs a little bit of help that I just recalled. I didn't even remember that.
Well,
so anybody who's out there looking for lessons, you're doing a great service to me. But I'm not. I'm really want to be fair with everybody about everything. So I'm not just there to do a service for me. If somebody's taking lessons from me, I'm there to do a service for you.
Well, I can verify that too. I got to a point where we got into when we first started. Got there. It's like, hey, I'm an old biker dude. You don't have a whole lot of money. You got a lot of bills like everybody else.
Yeah.
But I still had a little bit and wanted to do it. So I said, well, some of these guys, I choose $100, $500 an hour. You said, well, what you value your information and your tutelage and your experience at that, and if that's what you value it on, fine. But you take it into account that not only is your experience that you are willing to teach and relate to people and work on, can compute into that, you also take the account that, what's the ability for the person to get into it, because you're more than just, I'm here to make a buck. You give me the impression that you want to see people succeed and enjoy what you have been learning to enjoy. And that's better than the guy who's just, hey, I charge $500 an hour. Well, well, come back when you got $500 an hour. And some people are like that. Go there and say, well, I guess I can't deal with you. I would like to. If I win the lotto, I'll come back.
Well, certainly, like, as time goes along, because I've been teaching chess on and off also since I was like 13 or 14. So it's been almost like 20 years of teaching chess too. But I used to charge $15 an hour was all I charged.
Wow,
Very,
we're doing
very
that now.
yeah, I know. And then it went up a little bit, but and then of course I did so much work for the YouTubes. I just got so inspired by the fact that so many people, thousands of people, were writing me saying how much this had influenced them, and I understood that different chess clubs were getting started. People were using these videos in schools. And so as a result, I started getting really very devoted to it without asking for much. But of course, as time goes along, I'm learning the importance of asking for something, because I've got to sustain myself, and I don't know. It just became a value at a certain point. It doesn't even matter if I'm, it's nice to make money. It's a wonderful thing. It's part of
everybody's entitled to make
journey
whatever
on
they
this
can
planet.
make.
Yeah, but if somebody's coming to me and that becomes a barrier, I offer a sliding scale. That's what I learned from a person who I deeply value and respect in my life. And it's just good, because we know there are situations going on in people's lives and in the world which might make it difficult. So I also have a student that I teach for free, who has done remarkable things, and that keeps me human. It keeps me in touch with the human side, so that we don't just constantly become a better biocomputer. I'm not just constantly feeding information about how to get smarter at chess and how to make more money and what I'm going to do with that. That there's also a human element involved, because we also have just this moment, right? Just right now when I'm talking to you, that's it. Like this is, we don't know what's going to happen in a few minutes from now or anything like that. So you have to make the most of the moment and not just think always about the future and what I'm getting out of it.
That's true. Live for today. That's the one. Now, tell me, go there. You mentioned, we were talking about your students and how you helping them out and whether it's the sliding scale that you help, or the guy that you help for free. You go there, you take this on a case by case. Also, you guys think you're getting something for nothing, you better just take it out of your mind, because the biker chess dude knows who you are. Don't call him. The other ones, call him. Okay, but what I wanted to go there and say is that, do you, see if I can put this in the right way, how rewarding do you find teaching your students compared to, say, something like when you were playing tournament chess, trying to, get your rating up and make money, and that, winning tournaments and things of that nature. Each one's got its own particular flavor about it. You love the thrill of excitement of competition and stuff. And there's the rewarding part of your students, and then helping out on that particular part. Tell me, let's see, how do you experience either one of those two areas?
So playing chess, so of course I mentioned that I'm a meditator, and everything has changed over time. I mean, even when I did the videos, most of the videos, because I'm doing some now, but the ones which are currently very popular, still there was a element of Zen, the way that I understood it at the time, which is that I'm trying to make them fun, I'm trying to make them enjoyable, I'm trying to take emphasis off of winning and losing, and just focus on the subject matter. And so still there's an element of living for the moment. When I played chess, I mean, somehow that the interpretation of all that got more refined, so it's different now. But when I play chess, it's usually a very blissful experience playing in tournaments. I really, really enjoy, because it's so clear to me that I'm using my brain, the biocomputer in my head, to do something actually slightly repetitive with some moments of creativity, some moments of inspiration, some moments of otherworldliness enter into a chess game, that is profound because it looks like we're just moving some pieces. But if for no other reason, just because I experience the room, I experience the people in the room, I experience the visual appeal of the pieces, when I'm playing chess. So when I'm in a tournament, there's so much visual stimuli, so many people, such a connection that I feel with the young people who play, with the elderly people who play, with the men, with the women, with everybody in there. It brings something so special. And so to me, playing chess and playing chess to me is a lot like a meditation hall. I don't go to meditation halls really. I have a meditation center, but I imagine there are places where, but it's quiet, right? When the tournament starts, it gets very quiet. There might be hundreds of people in the room, but it gets very quiet. So to the point that you can hear the most subtle sounds. And it's just a deeply rewarding experience. And it does differ from our normal everyday activities where there's a hush and there's more of a sense of camaraderie. Even after players finish their games, it's not uncommon for there to be real joy around what has taken place and a sharing which takes place. So for me, playing in tournaments is still one of the most exquisite experiences of life. Teaching chess, it depends because there's more of a feeling that I'm there to work, I suppose, that I'm more engaged with. I don't know how to put it. I don't know, because I really do enjoy teaching chess, but more and more I feel a little bit more aloof from the enjoyment of it, and I'm just kind of pouring as much out as I can often, just trying to get as much out there to that person as I possibly can. And then maybe what we call the critical mind, there's a part inside which oftentimes feels like I still didn't do enough. No matter what I manage to say to the person, no matter how much they say that they enjoyed it and they want to come back, I still feel like I said a little bit too much here, not enough there. I got too excited at one point and lost track of what I was doing, or whatever. So that there's all these little micro things that come in when I'm teaching, because I don't know why, but maybe I've absorbed that from other people. That's how lots of people do their work, right? Just so focused and not really focusing that much on my own enjoyment. So usually it's the moments after the teaching that are enjoyable, because there's a sort of release when it's all over. And I work with kids now too. And with kids, I also feel very much careful about what am I doing with these kids. I really want to be attentive to am I helping them do something they really want to do? Am I helping them to enjoy themselves and learn? Or am I becoming a taskmaster trying to dump something into their heads that they may not want in that moment? So I feel, again, a very strong sense of, in that case, I feel like these are very impressionable young people, and I'm not here to take them over or just put things in their brain that they don't need there. So I'm very attentive. But exquisitely, the kids are oftentimes more than willing to jump in, and they're eager to do the puzzles. They're excited, and sometimes they take over the class and do beautiful things, but sometimes they take over the class and they just want to run around, and then I'm kind of split about how much of that I want to allow.
Short attention span, that's for sure.
Yeah. So with kids, I feel like especially there's a sense of what am I doing here? And then when it's over, I'm just excited and I need to go out and blow off some steam after that.
Yeah, I can understand that completely. So tell me now, if anyone out here that's watching out on the Chess Coffee and Conversations wants to get a hold of you, to contact you for lessons, maybe say comments, talk, whatever it is, or reach out and contact you, let's see, what's the best way that they can do that?
So I've got a couple email addresses. You can write me.
Write it down, everybody. Okay, get your pen.
Okay. Contact, the word contact.
Contact.
CONTACT at sign Kaboo Software. So Kaboo is just the mix of my previous last name and my friend's last name, Burba. So it's KEBU.
Right.
Then the software. So Kaboo Software. That's all one word.
Okay.
Contact at kaboosoftware.com.
Okay.
And you can find this email address by going to chessopenings.com. The word chessopenings.com. You can find that information too. That's the business
kind of thing.
Yeah, that's the business email. If you see my name, Derek, the name which I used to go by, Derek, all over the place, There's also a one D, the first letter of the word Derek, d@derek.com. That's still an email address that I use. If you write me, you'll still get emails back that say Krishna Prem on it, which is the sannyasin name that I took. But still, that email d@derek.com is still effective. And Derek is spelled Dereque. So I own that domain name. We set up an email account there.
Yeah.
You could also, that email account is funneled to derek.kelly@gmail.com, which is also an email address that you can reach me by. Because even when you
ways to get connected, that's good. That's good. That's good.
So there you go.
Thank you so much. Thank you once again there for joining us here at Chess, Coffee, and Conversations. Well, another great opportunity for you out there in the old video land, where the biker dude reaches out and shows you something. So, hey, wasn't that great? I told you I got the best people. They're going to come out there that you haven't met yet, but you're going to really want. We'll be putting together our next episode real soon, so stay tuned. Pass the word on to people. You want to play some chess, you want to have some fellowship, you want something to feel good about, the old biker chess dude knows just where to point you to. Meet us on Sundays. Come on down for church if you like. Stay for the service. You're going to hear something that probably be very important to you. And, of course, we get together and have some good fun, some fellowship afterwards as we move the mighty armies to face each other on the field of honor. Yeah. Hey, the old biker chess dude is glad that you spent some time with us today. Keep yourself tuned for the next one, and I'll be looking for you at the next one.